This is the kind of a story some would prefer faces a natural death. A story that the society would rather not be told.
I won't lie. Hope my parents won't say this. I won't lie.
But it must be told because a generation is under threat.
The community is not so open or supportive of young moms. And I'm always saying, you see, if you support these people, then they're able to continue their life as opposed to staying where they are, probably languishing in poverty or just not being able to even be better parents to their kids. Then that's just a whole generation we have spoiled.
A lot of changes are occurring and societies are being forced to transform. Women's significance in the development of any country is enormous. Political, economical, and social pillars are being shaken by the ever-changing dynamics. There is evidence that at least 30% of women in urban areas aged between 25 and 49 were married before the age of 18. Globally, births in excess of 7 million are by girls in their teens. In Kenya, more than 10% of pregnancies are attributed to girls under the age of 19 years. In the year 2014, Kenya Demographics Health Survey, KDHS, revealed that 18% of teenagers aged between 15 and 19 were already pregnant with their first child. The number is higher in Homa Bay and Narok, which record 33 and 31% respectively.
Teenage pregnancies, I think they're on the rise. The situation is alarming. Many people might not be aware, parents might not be aware, but it's happening.
There's really need for the young moms to be supported, and again, I still insist, there's really need for these numbers to go down.
Some decades ago, single motherhood was rare, but globalization and westernization brought changes.
Mommy!
Yes, Shacy?
I am Shacy.
Can Shacy do something else? Talk to Teddy?
There is even more to this, the young moms phenomenon.
I became a mom at the age of 20, pretty young.
I got my child when I was in school, as in JKUAT, I was doing financial engineering. That was the beginning of my second year.
I was doing my diploma in mass communication at the time in Thika, Mount Kenya University.
According to research conducted by the National Council for Population and Development in 2013, nearly 40% of unmarried women aged between 15 to 24 have had premarital sex, and more than 1 in 7 were sexually active.
It's quite sad that most girls are getting pregnant from a very, very tender age.
Girls as young as 13 are becoming mothers, with a good number of women having their children before celebrating their 23rd birthdays.
People between the ages of 15 to 19 are now young moms. So that's just 15 to 19. You haven't counted for the ones below 15 years, because you find some people 12 years, they're having kids. And then now there's the age bracket of 20 all the way up to probably 23. These are guys in campuses who are having kids.
Nowadays, the higher numbers of people who are becoming moms each day is between ages 17 and 25. In which you find that either they're single moms or they were either too young at the time they were getting pregnant.
Some were never expected to get pregnant outside marriages, while others never expected it would happen to them.
Oh yes, I actually come from a Christian background. In fact, that time my dad was an elder. My parents have served in church for like the longest time. So I was born in church, I was raised in the church values.
If you see someone who has a baby at home, maybe before that I was like, how could you get a baby and you're at your, but now you get to understand things happen, and it's life.
That's part of the things I was thinking to myself, like, how could I even get myself into this?
Once conception and delivery happens, lives are changed.
My life just stopped, as in everything stopped. I used to stay indoors like all day, every day.
Some are caught by surprise.
My body started changing. You know, I was getting so tired. I was going to school, and you know, from the stage to my school, it's such a distance. So I was getting so tired quickly. I was breathing heavily, as in I couldn't do things that I used to do normally without getting tired. And then my stomach started now growing. You know, it's not that one ati utarudisha ndani. So I know there's something wrong. Now we went to another doctor, and the doctor confirmed. The doctor was like, you're 7 months, I don't know, 3 weeks pregnant, and it's a girl. He didn't even want to wait, you know, like, I don't want to know the sex first, don't tell me. He just told us everything there and then.
I am, as you can see, I am a small figured person. No one knew, even me myself, I didn't think about it. I just thought I'm gaining weight. Even my mom told me she knew, she saw I was gaining weight, but she didn't think I was pregnant. So my life went on normal. I used to go to church, I went to school, I used to go out with my friends, I did everything normal, but I just get tired faster than normal.
First of all, for me, it was a shocker, because how I found out it was actually my baby daddy used to say, Fee, I think you're actually expecting, like the way you've been behaving, you've changed, like in terms of the moods, any simple things just get to you and whatnot. So I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. So he told me, no, let's just go do a test and decide like if it's it. So actually told my brother first. I'm like, this guy actually thinks I'm pregnant and I don't think I'm pregnant. So my brother said, okay, let's do this. We'll ask him, like we'll find out whether if really you're pregnant, he's a responsible guy. So we met at some place in Karen and we had a discussion, and after we decided, now we'll go and do the pregnancy test. So we walk into the clinic, we do the pregnancy test, and it comes out positive.
The reaction depends, and every situation is dealt with differently. Some can't believe the news, and coping mechanisms are necessary.
Actually, I remember that day when I was told I was pregnant. Actually, my boyfriend, he was like, let me just lean on the wall first, because it was shocking. It was a shock of our lives. For me, I just started crying. I didn't even know what to do. So after that, we went to like a restaurant and talked about it. He was like, even his parents are kind of strict, but they're better than mine, you know. And again, I'm the girl here, you know. For boys, it's a little bit easier.
It was hard to take in, somehow mixed emotions. You're not so sure what to do. You're so young, you're in campus, you have nothing on you, literally. So what we did was head to a club. Just being young, head to a club, do 1 shot, 2 shots, and you're like, we're still pregnant, so let's drink up to that. So we drank up to that, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday, reality dawned, and we were still pregnant. So we had to like sit down and seriously talk. What next?
With time, family ties are tested, weakened or strengthened.
Yeah, so I called my mom, talked to her. For her, she's easy. She was easy. The worst thing now, it was my dad, telling my dad. My dad was so disappointed because he actually believed in me. I think he never thought of such a thing. Out of everything else, I don't think that was like the last thing on his mind. So yeah, he wasn't talking to me like the whole time for those 2 months. And then I got my baby. I went back home because I needed the support. I couldn't live alone. Yeah, I needed the support from my parents.
Literally, I could see how my parents were disappointed.
And then my dad came around after that. After I just went home with the baby, he just came around. But it took him a lot to get to that point. You know me, I was not there during that time. It's just the stories you are being told. Your dad was so angry, as in he was angry at everyone. And it's my fault, you know, angry at my mother, my siblings, you know.
Okay, in terms of my family, it has strengthened relationships. Like me and my mom, we've become more closer, and me and my brothers. Because, you know, now those are the people who are taking care of the baby when I'm the other side. So you have to constantly call, and you just can't call and ask about the child. So
friendships are redefined, and friends are lost.
As a young mother, you do not have time to have meaningless friendships. You just have friendships with people who add value to your life, who you want to grow together.
I lost friends who were really close, but when I got the baby, they didn't even come to see me or even tell me congratulations or something, you know.
You get to learn your true friends when such things happen. Now I can say I know a lot of people. I used to think I had a lot of friends, but now I say I know a lot of people, but I have few friends.
Right now I have a baby, you know, I can't just be spending time all the time with you guys. I have to spend time with my baby. So there are those that you just had to lose them. You just lost them even maybe without realizing. Yeah, but there are those who stuck still from then.
In churches and other places of worship, this is a group that the clergy and the worshippers have to deal with.
Imagine you as probably an elder or a pastor's child or something, and then you're pregnant. Like I think you're the last person most people expect. Yeah.
Would meet in church and someone would snub me outright, just like that. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, it's because I have a baby. All of a sudden, I'm bad influence.
People who see you as you've done something wrong, you know you've done something wrong, and then someone telling you you've done something, it makes it worse. It makes you feel worse than you were already feeling.
But in my church, I wouldn't say they discriminated me in any way, because I'm from a Presbyterian church. So like when you get a child out of wedlock, you can't receive the Holy Communion. I wouldn't say that is discrimination, because that's a sin. You committed a sin. So you have to go through some classes, you know. And when I went and explained myself to the priest, I wasn't discriminated. He was just okay with it. Yeah, and I had to take the classes.
I just stopped going for Holy Communion, which is, I think, okay, because one, biblically, I'm supposed to have a child when I'm already married and all that stuff, but stuff already happens. And yeah, it's sort of okay, but somehow it feels like you're being judged. You know, you're stopped from attending Holy Communion and the other church stuff, but somehow you get back to it. They allow you. So I wouldn't say the church really stigmatized me. It was just something that they do.
Some are rejected in places of worship, learning facilities, and at times by their own families.
Some parents, they get so disappointed, and some become also so unreasonable. They chase the girls out of their homes, and you find this girl now has no other option, so probably she chooses to do things that others should not have engaged in.
And most of the time, the cases we have, it's like you're in a relationship, you believe the guy loves you, then a couple of weeks ago you talked about how cute mini yous would be, you know, and you decide, let me surprise him. Boom, baby, we are pregnant. And he goes like, I was just getting to know you, you know, we were not dating.
Once these young women discover that they are pregnant, a lot goes on in their minds.
I think I was shocked, I was confused, it was like, I was disappointed, all those emotions just, I don't know, like, I don't even remember. I think I just went into my own world.
Breaking the news to parents, siblings, and boyfriends can be difficult. At times, this is the deal breaker.
It took a while to tell my parents that I was pregnant. You know, this is not something you go and like lay it on the table like just like that. You've got to strategize. You do not know how they're going to react, you don't know what they're going to say.
So I called my mother like the next day, because it was 7 months. It's something that you should tell people, you know, quickly. You can't waste time on it. I called her. I told her, like, we should meet in town. There's something I want to tell you. I've never told her that before. So she was like, just tell me what it is. I'm telling her, so you just wait until tomorrow. I'll tell you then. Then text me if you don't want to tell me. Nini. So I just texted her, Mom, I'm 7 months pregnant. Huh? She called me. She was shaking. Her voice was shaking. She was like, what have you done to me? What have you done to yourself? You know, she was so you could feel the disappointment in her voice. I knew now I'm dead. If it's my mom reacting this way, then I knew my dad, it will be worse. But my mom is such a nice person, an easy person. She understood, you know.
My reaction from my parents, it's not what I expected. I expected them to be mad, angry. They were just disappointed.
My dad stopped paying my rent. Yeah, because he's the one who was paying before. So my mom, like for those 2 months, she's the one who catered for everything first.
So I told my mom jokingly, and she took it jokingly. Then after a week, that's when she was like, you're actually pregnant. And I'm like, yeah. So she told me these things happen, so what's your plan? And I had to be like, I actually have no plan. That's when she was like, don't worry, we're gonna figure something out, but for the time being, go for your clinic, make sure you're okay, the baby is okay, and stuff like that. And yeah, and she told my dad, so it was quite easy for me.
After breaking the news, judgment is expected. Many of those who expected their daughters, sisters, and neighbors to be careful are left wondering what went wrong.
Even if you talk to girls who found out that they're just pregnant, they'll be like, I don't know what my mom would say, I don't know what my dad would say, I don't know how people will now perceive me.
I was scared of how people would think of me. Being 20 and I just in university, there's the perception you go to university, you let loose, you get pregnant.
That time, I wasn't serious. I wouldn't lie, I wasn't serious. I used to joke a lot with school and all that. So in the midst of all that, I got pregnant, but I didn't know. That's the funniest thing. Yeah, so 7 months down the line, I got to know I was pregnant. And it was such a bad experience the first time when I knew, because I knew my parents have sent me to school to go and study. And then now I'm here, I'm pregnant. How do I even break the news to them, And to make it worse, to 7 months pregnant, any normal person will think this person has been hiding the pregnancy, and then now it's the time she's breaking the news to us. Yeah, so
The truth is, futures are put in jeopardy, and some of the survivors do not recover from the chains of poverty.
Being a young mom, the journey has not been 100% easy.
Your parents have struggled to maintain you, and then here you are, you get pregnant. One, you will go back home, your education stops so that they can help you maintain the baby, and for you to ever get back on your feet, it gets, I don't know, it's tough.
Young mothers, teenage mothers who've gone back to school, but not many of them survive through because of the hardships and also the fact that you have to take care of the baby and all that.
And when you look at it, it's normally so hard to pick yourself back up, Like you get a baby when you're 13, you won't be able to finish your primary education, meaning you won't progress to high school education.
The aftermath can be depression, heartbreaks, stigma, isolation, and death, just to mention a few. Some of the ladies who find themselves in this predicament suffer immensely. Hundreds choose or are coerced to avoid facing the consequences.
I found out I was pregnant on a Friday. On Sunday morning, I called him, I told him, and he told me we should meet and I go for an abortion, and I refused. I said I'm not going to kill my child. Then he told me I should forget him. He doesn't want to be a parent. The decision I make, either if I abort or I keep the baby, he doesn't want to be there.
Some of the things that most men come to say when a girl gets pregnant is you have the power to decide whether to get pregnant or not. Okay, it doesn't really make sense to me because it's two-way, where you planted your seed in me, you knew what you were doing. And yes, it was my decision whether to keep the seed or not. But either way, you should have been as responsible as ought to be,
okay, I have a friend of mine who she got pregnant, the boyfriend denied, and the boyfriend has never even told. The baby is 3 years old right now. The parents of the boyfriend don't even know the guy has a child,
5 months later, he said he was scared of being a young parent.
Sasa mimi ushanga chali akiogopa dem anafaa fanye nini?
African Population and Health Research Center 2012 national study found that almost 500,000 abortions were carried out that year.
Abortion is serious. It is completely normal, literally. You walk into a hospital, any hospital, I won't give names, of course. You walk into a hospital, you ask to see a doctor, and you tell him or her what you want, and they just say, okay, sawa, when do you want it done? This is the amount, and it's done, and you're okay.
They find abortion to be a solution because it's solves the problem for the time being. Yeah, for the time being, at least they get sorted out, but they don't know if it has consequences to deal with.
Quacks performed more than half of those procedures, with 25% of the cases resulting in complications. Girls between the ages of 10 to 19 were among those who suffered complications resulting from abortions.
Most of the girls cannot get the right procedure. So it means they have to do backstreet using quacks, and there's the health risk.
You just bleed maybe for 2 days. You walk out, they are fine. No, surprisingly, people don't regret. Nowadays, they're not even haunted. It's normal. You go back again. You go here. Your friend is pregnant. She wants to abort. You refer them. You survived. So you can also survive. So it's become such a normal thing.
Okay, for the young lady who's about to consider aborting, I would want to tell her that it's not the right option because it has consequences, temporary or permanent, and then the psychological torture is also not something you would want to deal with.
2,000 or so deaths occurring annually can be tracked to abortions and its complications. In other terms, about 1% of women admitted to public hospitals are dying from abortion-related complications.
When I got pregnant and my plan A to Y was abortion, and of course I had to consult with friends, I believe around 8.8% asked me to abort. Literally, it was basically everyone I knew in my circles.
I wouldn't lie. Maybe at that point, if I knew it at that early stage, maybe I would have thought of it, because I'm here. Actually, at that time, I think I was in third year. I think I was in third year, first semester. So at that time, I will be like, I'm almost finishing, this baby is going to come at Aniaribia, all this. My parents will be so disappointed. My friends will be, I think so. Such are the things that make people want to abort. But I just came to realize those are selfish reasons.
Most of them, if you ask them, okay, why do you want to procure an abortion, or why do you think this baby should not leave, they'll tell you, oh, my mom would say this, or my dad will not accept, or maybe daddy won't love me again if I keep this baby, probably he'll leave her or something. Like, it's always just the people around, and those are society, yeah?
In which sometimes most moms end up aborting, which is quite sad, but then again, it's up to you as a person, if you bring the child, what happens? Are you going to be the good mom? Are you going to not want to really be around the child? So some of them just decide to abort, and there is a time we actually lost one who aborted and it went wrong, which was really sad.
In Kenya, abortion has caused heated arguments for years. Some are of the opinion that women should have the right to decide, while others argue that this is allowing them to play God.
I'm not supporting abortion, by the way. Not that. I'm not supporting abortion. But I'm saying you've passed through that, Nini, so you'll understand why this person did what they had to do, I'm by the I'm pro-life, kabisa. But I'm saying you will get to know, you will get to understand. You won't just judge someone for the decision that they've made,
I am pro-life. I believe every child, every person who is on this earth has a purpose.
For the longest time ever, I was pro-choice. Like, do whatever you want. I won't judge you. It's your decision. But somehow along the way, with how the baby has been to me, she's been a blessing, like a total blessing. Somehow I got transitioned to pro-life fully. So if you're already pregnant, then keep the baby. Do whatever you gotta do to have the baby, keep it and provide for it.
I always think, what if that was the only egg that would be fertilized and get my only child? Or what if I go and die or something happens to me? And my mother actually thanked me when I told her about how he said I should get an abortion. She hugged me and she thanked me and she told me I did a very good thing because that's murder and the baby didn't do anything to deserve being killed.
Nowadays, most people, like, they shame single mothers, Now maybe I get pregnant and maybe it was some guy we were just having fun with, I just know automatically this guy will not accept this responsibility. So I'll just go and abort,
The way they're acting, it seems legal. The way abortion has been, it seems very legal.
The only time I can think of abortion is when the baby is causing damage to the parent.
Apart from abortions and the stigma associated with conceiving outside wedlock, the young moms are judged.
Socially, I was scared of how people would think of me. Being 20 and I'm just in university, there's the perception you go to university, you let loose, you get pregnant.
I was really scared, what will people say about me? Yeah, people talked. People have to talk always, People talk. So when I went home with the baby, people were like, she's the one who was going to study law, She's come home with a baby. What is this? I'm not disappointment. Yeah, people really talk. But
at times, people say mean things and they have to live with it.
We were having a conversation and I mentioned that I have a 3-year-old. And she looked at me and she said, you don't look like you don't look like a mother. So in my head, I'm thinking, how do mothers look? How can you tell that I'm a mother or not?
Someone is shocked, like, oh my God, you are a mom, I'm like, is it a crime, or is it, they make it like, it seems like it's a big deal. Being a mom is not a big deal. You're also born from a mother, it's not such a big deal.
Actually, lately, the most annoying one is I get this whole vibe of, oh my gosh, your daughter is such a diva. It's so annoying. I really hate it. Somehow, it used to be cute at first, but now it sounds so annoying. It sounds like you're bringing up a brat, where it's like they're judging how she's behaving and they're judging your discipline and stuff like that. So that's a really bad comment that people tend to make. They may tend to make it without knowing something, but whenever someone tells me, oh my gosh, your baby is such a diva, and they bring it out in that tone, so annoying. I hate that comment when someone tells me that.
More than 40% of pregnancies in Kenya are unplanned. Why the number is on the rise is a question begging for answers.
So I got that opportunity to go and live alone. Now that's freedom. You can do anything. There's no one to watch you and all that. So I think in the midst of all that, that's where I was caught up.
I was dating that guy at the moment. We had dated for a couple of months, almost a year. And then the baby came.
I think it's, young girls sort of thinking, or rather not really having a communication, some type of communication with the men, because you find that in most cases, the girls believe they are in love and they're actually dating the man, and maybe it's been a couple months. And all of a sudden she decides it's okay if I got pregnant, he's going to support me and all that, but that's not the case. The guy wasn't fully committed.
Despite at times being called names for failing to respect societal norms, these young mums have a strong conviction it will be better.
When I first found out I was pregnant, the one thing that I can wish someone told me, it's going to get better. It eventually does.
A baby is a blessing, totally.
At the end of the day, no matter how hard it is, the joys that come with it, as in they cover, I don't even know what to say.
And looking back, I made the best decision because she's brought so much joy to us.
It always turns out to be okay. Everything turns out to be okay.
When you get your baby, you'll just come to realize that so many things, so many doors open for you, so many things come through for you. And I just tend to think it's because of that baby.
So to any young mother, any young girl who's found out she's pregnant or she's just given birth and everything seems hard, it gets better. You'll be a perfect parent. You will get a good job. You'll finish school. It might take longer than it's supposed to, but eventually it'll happen.
Motherhood is overwhelming, and in some instances, the mothers need help. One of the young mums started a platform to encourage and assist those in need.
I was looking for a platform myself that supports young mothers, encourage them, especially in the urban setting. So because I couldn't find one at the moment, then I decided to start Amira Africa.
The platform is attracting more young mums looking for guidance and moral support.
I got to join Amira. I saw Fiona, I think she posted something on Facebook. Someone shared something on Facebook, something to do with Amira. I didn't know what it was about, but I read her story and I was like, hey, she's a young mom like me. And at that time, I was pressured because my friends were graduating. Things are just going, everything, as in people are getting jobs, people are getting married. Me, I'm just here with my baby at home, you know. So I was in self-pity by the way. So when I saw it, this is someone going through something like me. And she had left her contacts there. So I contacted her. I told her my story. She told me about Amira Africa.
So I got to know about Amira through a friend of a friend. You know, that's how it is. So you have a friend who's pregnant, then you know a friend who's in a group called Amira. So you get introduced. They had just started out. They were having just a WhatsApp group.
I really needed someone to talk to and someone who was there before me, who understood what I was going through. But
it really grieves my heart if someone loses hope because something happened, and yet there's a platform whereby you can come, be motivated, elevated, and encouraged to continue with your life. Because we want these young moms to go back to school, we want them to still pursue their dreams, still be what they actually want to be. If it's an economist, if it's a doctor, if it's a musician, not just now sit at home or probably be in this abusive relationship with a baby daddy because he's the only one providing and you don't want to continue with your life.
Here, members share experiences and subjects revolving around motherhood are discussed.
with my experience, I can help someone who wants to talk about their pregnancy, about their child.
So if you had any question maybe about your baby or about something, you just ask. If you are going through something, these are people who can relate. Because all of us, we are young moms. Even there's some who had gotten babies at 18, 19. So you see, as in, it felt like home, getting to know that there's someone out there who is going through the same thing as you. Yeah. So I think that's what I love most about Amira Africa.
We talk about poop, we talk about milk, stuff like that. Talk about soil and boobs, stuff like that. It was definitely my platform.
Mentors with Amira Africa use their experience to be of help. One thing they have in common is that they have dealt with broken hearts.
I began mentoring with Amira Africa April of 2015, and my first case was my hardest and my best, and we're still in contact till now. We'll call her April. Fiona contacted me and told me she has a hard case and she wants me to try and talk to her. It was hard because you don't know this person, you've never met them before, and then they want you to tell them about yourself, your personal life. So I tried very hard to make her feel comfortable and open up to me. She found out she was pregnant. She told her baby daddy. He told her he's not financially stable to support her. So she should, if she decides to keep the baby, that's up to her. But she shouldn't expect help from him. She took some time, about a week or two. She told her parents. Her parents were disappointed, and she's Muslim. So Muslim, and she's 20, and she's given birth, and she's not married. It made everything worse. So her parents wanted to stop everything, communication, stop helping her and everything. But she talked to one of her aunties, and this auntie talked to her father, and finally the father accepted to take care of her, but her alone. So she's not supported by her parents with the baby. 3-4 months later, she called me at around 1 a.m. at night. She was crying. She said she started bleeding and she was scared. So I told her to ask her parents to take her to hospital. And she told me her mom has found her crying, and she just looked at her and went back to sleep. She didn't care. She didn't bother herself to find out what was happening to her daughter. So she asked me if I could send her money. As a mentor, we're supposed to help you emotionally, financially, mentally, everything. So the little money I had on M-Pesa, I M-Pesa'd her, and she waited till morning because she lives in Kilifi. It's hard to get to hospital at night. She waited till morning. Morning she went to hospital. She did her ultrasound, and it was good news. She was having twins. But now, because she has a small body, the babies were heavy for her uterus to accommodate. So they advised her to be on bed rest, but she decided she couldn't afford to be on bed rest because her parents are not supporting her. her baby daddy is not supporting her, so it is up to her. And now she was planning for one, and now there are two.
For example, we had a lady, I'll call her Lady M. So Lady M came to us when she was 3 months pregnant. And so I was her mentor at that time. So I talked to her, and actually thought that for real now we're going to have this baby, she'll be okay. Because she was actually so scared that her mom would not accept this child. Her story was when she was in high school, she had actually fallen pregnant, and then her mom took her to have an abortion. So she knew if she tells her mom now that she's pregnant, the mom would still opt for another abortion. So one time I called her because I wanted to talk to her and actually meet her up. And she said she's going to the hospital, but she'll call me after. So anyway, after a few days, the mom calls me. She's like, they were cold, they had to go because she was taken to Pumwani. And what happened is she overbled. She tried to procure. She tried to procure an abortion. I think some place in Isili. How that's the story was given. And now she was taken to Pumwani because she overbled, and she died.
Amira Africa is partnering with other organizations to be able to reach more young moms. This doesn't mean everyone supports their idea.
A couple of people in society who think Amira is actually supporting sex, if I can say that way, fornication, which is not actually the deal, because we do want to end, but at the same time we're saying what happens to the ones who are already here? Do we just toss them aside because they went against societal norms? No, we have to find a way to incorporate them, because at the end of the day, all these young moms have children who are our future generation. So what happens to these other ones?
The organization has goals to achieve, and the founder is hopeful that the dreams will be a reality.
We hope to reach more young moms in different parts of Africa and just show them that there's a platform for them to come and just be motivated, encouraged, and elevated, and continue their life and do amazing things and be whatever they want to be and raise these kids in an amazing way. Also, we hope that finally we can be able to just have a home for these moms.
Motherhood changed their lives, and they are of the opinion that it made them better and stronger.
Actually, your perspective in life changes fast, because right now it's not about you anymore. There's someone out there. It's a human being fully depending on you. If it's not you, it's no one. So you'll have to be responsible.
Being young and being a mom, it's made me grow as a person.
Transitioning from a party life to being a stay-at-home mom, like you have a tiny little person that you've got to breastfeed, do all that too. It was hard. It was really, really hard. But somehow the people around me made it so easy. My friends would come all the way to see me, spend time with me. Then I became a social media holic. So it sort of kept me updated. I didn't feel like I was missing out or anything. So somehow it was easy. I didn't even get into the, that depression that you get into.
Having a child has matured me in very many ways. Because before I used to joke, like in school I used to joke. I won't lie. Hope my parents won't say this.
Despite this, if these young moms were to go back in time, they would make a different decision.
If I was to go back in time, I wouldn't have made that decision. I wouldn't have experimented, because everything has a reaction. Something happens after that.
If you can, I would advise people not to get pregnant early, because it's not that easy.
I tell people not to get pregnant, which is honestly, do not get pregnant. If you're not pregnant yet, just don't get pregnant. It's not as easy as it looks. You're young, you've got to finish school, have your job and stuff like that, And I don't know, you get pregnant with a man who has not committed fully to you, so you end up being single, and it's really hard to pick yourself up. Most of the times it's really hard. Not so many have been able to do so.
You have to manage, if it's school. For me, it used to be school, work, and then my baby. I'm from work at around 5. I go to class from 5:30 to 7:30. Then I'm home at around 9. my baby sleeps like at around 9:30, 10. So you don't spend a lot of time with the baby, you know. That's still one of the reasons why, as in getting pregnant early, it's not so advisable, because it's stressful, by the way. And like when maybe you have your own place.
Broken families, early marriages, rape, inadequate sex education, peer pressure, alcohol, and substance abuse are among factors to blame. A lot is at stake and a remedy is needed.
Each day, young schoolgirls as young as 13 are becoming pregnant. And what you don't understand is that is whether they are not getting enough sex education in school, or it's more lack of moral values that's supposed to be instilled by the church and the community, or what exactly is causing the whole issue of young and very early pregnancies.
You know, most African parents, they don't talk to their children about sex education because maybe they're shy, or I don't know, they feel like it's not right according to their customs. That's one of the problems with us people. I think you should just start talking to your children about sex as soon as they're old enough to understand some things, you know, as soon as they're old enough to understand what sex is.
Personally, I know some people might differ with that opinion, but personally I think it's better to deal with it before conception as opposed to after.
As a country, here we are, and discrimination has not dealt with the problem.
I will tell people who discriminate on young moms that you never know. You know, today maybe it's me, tomorrow it's you, especially maybe if you're a woman. You know, you don't know, you will have kids also. You don't know what they will go through. Maybe they will go through the same thing as this person that you're shaming. So you should always think, you know, you should always think before you talk, before you do something. You should always think, because in this world, it's unfair, and that's why it's fair to everyone, you know. Because today it's me, tomorrow it's you.
Teenage pregnancies and the young mums phenomenon can't be dealt with in a day. This will indeed need effort and consistency from various stakeholders.
We can't 100% say there'll be a time that, for example, teenage pregnancies or young motherhood will be completely kicked out of Kenya, but I believe that the numbers can actually be reduced. Yeah.